Okay, let's jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the absolute high-stakes political maneuvering that it took to push a monumental piece of legislation, the Clarity Act, past a totally deadlocked U.S. Senate. Now, if you follow digital assets at all, you already know this act is widely considered the last best hope for a comprehensive U.S. crypto framework. But here's the crazy part. For over a year, the fate of this bill didn't hinge on tech debates or market caps. It all came down to a bitter, closed-door fight over government ethics. So today we're going to map out exactly how a single, massive financial disclosure sparked a crisis, and how a secret compromise might have just rewired the global economy.
To really understand the gridlock, we have to start with this absolutely staggering number. The entire legislative standoff kicked off in early July 2026, right when President Trump's 2025 financial disclosure went public. And that document revealed a massive $1.4 billion in crypto-related income in a single year. Now, you know how Washington works. When a number like that hits the floor, it immediately sucks all the oxygen out of the room. This wasn't just some minor footnote. To the bill's critics, it instantly became the entire narrative of the legislation.
And when you break down where that capital actually came from, you see exactly why. Roughly $635 million originated from a personal Trump meme coin, and over $500 million flowed in from World Liberty Financial, which is the family's own crypto venture. Having the money broken down so clearly like this, it instantly handed endless ammunition to the critics. It created this highly visible narrative, intertwining personal profit with national policy, which basically guaranteed a massive legislative clash.
Section 1. The billion-dollar crypto disclosure. Unsurprisingly, the opposition immediately weaponized that disclosure. Senator Elizabeth Warren was quick to brand the Clarity Act as a flagrant giveaway to the president and his family. Chris Murphy argued there was zero reason to pass a new system if it didn't stop corruption, and Chris Van Hollen just flat out called it a corrupt piece of legislation. Now, regardless of where you sit politically, the crucial thing to understand here is the mechanics of DC. These critics successfully used those specific earnings to brand the entire bill as politically toxic. Suddenly, crypto regulation wasn't about market structure anymore. It was framed entirely as an ethics scandal.
Section 2, scaling the 60-vote wall. Which brings us to the actual mechanical reality of Washington, the 60-vote wall. Because of the Senate filibuster rule, passing any major legislation means you need 60 votes to advance it. It's that simple. And the reality is, Republicans just don't have 60 seats. They literally cannot pass the Clarity Act on their own. So to get this over the finish line, they desperately need bipartisan support. Specifically, they need about 7 to 9 Democrats willing to cross the aisle. And the key to breaking that filibuster doesn't actually lie with the vocal critics we just talked about. It relies entirely on moderate Democrats. Back in May 2026, moderates like Ruben Gallego of Arizona and Angela Alsobrooks of Maryland actually did cross party lines. They voted the bill out of the Senate Banking Committee in a 15-9 vote. But, and this is a massive but, they strictly conditioned their final floor vote support on one thing: real, enforceable ethics guardrails. Kristen Smith from the Solana Policy Institute really hit the nail on the head with this quote. Voting for a bill that your own party's critics are calling a flagrant giveaway without demanding any sort of ethics reform? I mean, that's just political suicide. These moderates required what insiders call political cover. Without an ethics agreement neutralizing that whole scandal narrative, Gallego and Alsobrooks simply couldn't deliver the votes to breach the 60-vote wall.
Section 3. The secret ethics compromise.
It's actually wild how fast this all escalated and then resolved over just a couple of weeks in July 2026. After that disclosure hit in early July, confidence in the bill absolutely tanked. By the 13th, everyone thought it was dead. But then, right on July 20th, the seemingly impossible happened. A secret deal was hammered out directly with the White House. If you want to see the real-time heartbeat of this legislation, just look at the prediction odds on Polymarket. Back in May, the odds of passage were sitting pretty at over 80%. But by July 13th, right in the thick of the ethics standoff, they cratered to a record low of 24%. And even now, following that July 20th deal, they've only clawed back to about 40%. The market is kind of slowly waking up to the fact that the biggest roadblock is gone, but there's still a massive gap between the reality in Washington and how the market is currently pricing this. So what was the actual deal they struck? The terms of the July 20th agreement are highly specific. It strictly restricts the president, the vice president, and members of Congress from issuing, sponsoring, or profiting from digital assets while holding office. By agreeing to these exact terms, the White House completely disarmed the opposition. They neutralized the corruption attacks in one move, handing those moderate Democrats the exact political cover they needed to confidently cross the aisle.
Section 4. Erasing the regulatory overhang.
So why fight so hard for this? Well, right now, the US is basically operating in legal limbo. Back in March 2026, the SEC and CFTC put out a joint release classifying 16 major tokens as digital commodities. Which sounds amazing, right? Except that's just an administrative action. A future SEC chair could literally reverse it with the stroke of a pen. The Clarity Act changes everything by transforming those temporary classifications into permanent statutory law. Combine that with the Genius Act of 2025 that dealt with stablecoins, and you finalize the complete regulatory package. We're talking permanent, unprecedented market stability. Because those current administrative wins aren't locked in by actual law, the market hasn't fully priced him in. Take XRP, for example. After its commodity classification finally ended years of SEC legal limbo, we saw a massive $1.44 billion in ETF inflows. Huge, right? And yet, the asset remains trading at depressed levels near $1. That legal uncertainty, the looming fear that a policy could just flip overnight, acts as a massive overhang. It's artificially capping the true value of the entire market. And here's the kicker. While the US stalls out, the rest of the world is moving aggressively. Without a permanent framework, the US is literally bleeding top talent and liquidity. The European Union, they've had their MiCA framework in force since December 2024. That's a massive head start. Jurisdictions like Singapore, the UAE, and Hong Kong, they already have clear licensing regimes up and running. You've got SBI Holdings and the Solana Foundation building out markets in Japan, and Coinbase expanding its derivatives in the UK. Competitors are actively courting US capital right now, and frankly, they're winning.
Section 5, the ticking August deadline.
All of this brings us to the ultimate constraint, the August 7th deadline. At the time of this massive legislative push, the Senate recess is scheduled to kick off in roughly 14 working days. The clock is ticking so loud it's deafening. Senator Cynthia Lummis actually went on record warning that if this bill slips past the August 7th recess, the window for passage might not reopen for the rest of the decade. It is for sure a now or never scenario. And you can literally see the strain on the ground when you look at the government's understaffed resources. The CFTC is currently running with only one commissioner, the SEC has 2 vacancies, you even have top White House crypto advisor Patrick Witt deferring his military training for a second time just so he can stay in DC and finalize the bill's text. So even if they pass the law before the recess, the gap between passing a policy and having the actual human manpower to enforce it, it's still vast. Which leaves us with a pretty massive question to wrap up our explainer today. We've talked about billions of dollars, immense global competition, and some of the biggest technological leaps of our lifetime. And yet, the fate of all of it came down to a few paragraphs of text restricting the trading habits of politicians. Can a single, simple ethics agreement truly be the key to unlocking and governing the future of money? It's a fascinating look at the realities of our legal system, and honestly, it just might be the catalyst that rewires the global economy. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown, and keep your eyes glued to that August deadline.